Well, hello there, world. Big, bad, crazy, stupid, sad world. This is the heart that I wear every day to remind myself that my cats and other animals that I've lost in my life are still with me and live on in the very heart of love. Innocent lives matter. In the past, I was doing something on my YouTube channel, the Planet Peace Project, that I referred to as science fiction. And I called it Return to Innocence Game Over. And I've been talking through a fictional context about a situation in which the government and the mafia got married and spit out America, and America sold a bunch of technology and other abusive things to other countries, helping basically to create the new world order that everybody fears. Welcome to 1984. The truth is absolutely stranger than all the science fiction in the world. And anybody who knows the kinds of things that I know but goes ahead and has children anyway is cruel. To me, someone who has any kind of knowledge whatsoever about any of this, whether you got born into an Italian family, a cop family, a military family, if you know what I'm talking about and you go ahead and you breed in captivity, you are a cruel person because you just handed babies. You might as well have been a Lebensborn generator, which was Hitler's eugenics program. To breed in captivity is to hand innocent babies to the mob. Why don't you just let Hitler chew on them for a while? Dang, that guy's alive and well and in military uniforms right now, figuratively, spiritually speaking. Innocent lives matter more than those who are guilty and in. To be guilty rather than innocent, you have to have been successfully recruited by the mafia or the military. Basically, that's the same thing. Um, they put people through some pretty horrible things. And you could be a complete civilian who never applied for a job in the military, who never tried to get recruited, who never even was drafted by any of the militaries in the world, but you're still going to boot camp. And they put people through a lot of really horrifying trials and tribulations. And if you survive, you get to live. And if you don't, you don't. So, um, what I would suggest is that those people I know who are in the mafia, are in gangs, or the military, many police forces, some attorneys, these people would very literally be better off dead than to become what they have become, because they have become monsters. They have become greedy, selfish, useless, pathetic losers who would do anything at all to survive when in fact they should not be trying. Because whether you believe me or not, there is an eternity. We are souls temporarily inhabiting a physical form, and yes, I sincerely understand, not believe, but understand that this is some sort of holographic torture device that appears to be three-dimensional reality. But guess who told me? Not Elon Musk on a very compelling video interview. The United States military intelligence community told me that this was a holographic projection in the 1970s when I was still but a child. And these people were four-star generals, and these people were wringing their hands. And some of these people, listen to me, some of these people claimed to be from Operation Paperclip. They were literally Hitler's henchmen, alive and well in the United States in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, because the United States didn't put them in prison for being representatives and employees of Adolf Hitler. The United States of America said, "You're hired. Tell us what you know, and we'll use it against our own population as well as the populations of the world." Now you're starting to understand why I'm about to change this channel to Good Morning 1984. And our motto is so much truth, it's almost treason. Let me say this about that. In around 1973, no, actually it was 1971, I started being taken to the U.S. military intelligence base library that I lived near. I was born at one of the only national security agency attached military intelligence bases in the United States. I was born to the mob and in captivity. Some of you, especially those who've been in the military, really understand what I just said. But when I was 14, I was put into a series of tutorials that were held every weekend at the base library. My father sadly, dutifully drove me over there and sadly, dutifully picked me up. But let me tell you this. At one of the first ones, actually the first meeting I had with what I called the camo guys, they were really cute, kind of sort of relatively young guys, always in their 30s, it looked like, wearing camouflage gear. And they would sit with me at this one particular table, usually at the base library. But at the first one, I was told to sign a piece of paper. It went on for a while. It was legalese, and it said something about non-disclosure and yada yada. And I read it, but I was 14 years old, for God's sake. And legally, here's my out. Legally, I was not allowed to sign any sort of binding contracts. So whatever piece of paper I signed, it was not legally binding because I was under the age of legal majority when I signed it. They never gave me a copy of it. And I can't remember quite what it said, except that once I signed it and handed it back to that guy, he said, "You're not even to tell your parents what we're talking about at these tutorials, because your dad's got a security clearance, but it's not as high as yours. Congratulations, you're now Ultra Umbra." And I didn't know what the heck that meant, but I found out. And so at the age of 14, I was supposedly given some sort of BS security clearance by people who didn't seem to respect my childhood or my civilian status or my extremely vive la resistance nature. I was a pacifist, and these people were trying to weaponize a child. These are the same people who called me NK Ultra for Nancy K. NK Ultra when I was only 6 years old. I was told about Hitler's eugenics program, aka Lebensborn, where military intelligence doctors, were literally breeding people in laboratories in the United States, some of them in military hospitals. Yeah. I'm taking the gloves off, man. The truth is stranger than fiction. So much of science fiction is based on reality. You might have a hard time believing it if you're uninitiated, but maybe these videos at my YouTube channel will help initiate you now. Also, go to Cory Booker, the Sphere Alliance, Secure Team 10, Tyler Glockner's excellent ufology channel. Um, there's so many. Third Phase of the Moon, Street Cap, who is now dead under mysterious circumstances. I talked to George Nuri's people years ago about possibly being interviewed on his radio program, and they got back to me and they said, "We know who you are. We believe what you have to say. We want to publish and, broadcast what you have to say, Nancy, but we're afraid that you're going to be one of those people who dies under mysterious circumstances, sometimes on the way to the station." They said it was just all too weird that certain people who had certain types of things to say got suspiciously dead before they even got a chance to be interviewed. So George Nuri's people said, yes, but no, because we love you. Thanks anyway. And bye. Well, I'm going to start publishing books. I'm going to continue and expand my video tutorials. And I am going to get onto the circuit of seminars, New Age, Ancient Wisdom, News of the Weird, ufology type of seminars, and try to make some money. Because when I refused to work for NASA at the age of 16, when they started calling me up and writing me nasty letters and demanding, I mean screaming at me. NASA used to call me on the phone, an old-fashioned landline, and just yell at me about how it was my duty to my country and how they designed me to be an astronaut. People, NASA used to say, they designed me to be an astronaut. This would have been around 1973, 1974. And they said that I had no choice. But by the time I was 17, I was already in college. I was getting kind of tired of these damn phone calls. And I said, look, listen, I'm a pacifist. Albert Einstein is one of my heroes. I, am pro John Kennedy and Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks and Bobby Kennedy. And look what happened to all those people. I know who you people are and what you're doing to the good, the just, the innocent, the kind, the peace-loving. But I'm still not going to join you because it was a military position, right? A lot of people think of astronauts as civilians. They most certainly are not. You have to have an extremely high security clearance, and to be an astronaut is a military position, even back then, long before the Space Force was developed. So I sang, and believe me, I had this planned. I had copied the lyrics at the library. I sang Down by the Riverside. I ain't gonna study war no more to NASA over the phone in 1974. And there was the longest interval of silence in the history of human conversation. Finally, I was the one that broke the silence, and I said, "Are you guys still there?" And some guy said, I heard a thumping sound. He said, "The sound you hear, Nancy, is the sound of my fist coming down. I am opening a file on you because you're some kind of renegade, blah, blah, blah." And he said that we're going to fix your life so that if you don't work for us, you're never going to work for anyone. We may let you work for a few jobs here and there, but we're going to keep you down and moving for the rest of your life. That's what the United States federal government told me through the voice of some NASA jerk in 1974, when I was so smart that I'd already gotten out of high school and was in college and acing everything. And he said, "We're going to fix your life and keep you down and moving." I said, keep you down and moving. Isn't that a mafia term? Are you telling me that the United States federal government is the mob? Once again, a very long period of silence. And somebody else growled, "You said it, lady. We didn't." So, where we get to this is that I never got recruited. I'm still a civilian in more ways than one. And I have been called the only innocent mastermind in the history of history, or the oldest living innocent around. I have been battling recruitment by this insidious system of mass enslavement for decades. Follow me. Don't go down that path. Because if you become what those monsters, want you to become, you will live every single day of your life being sorry that you're alive. You are better off poor. You are better off a renegade. You are better off in another country if you can find one where this isn't happening to its citizens. But you're better off dead than alive if you get recruited by the mob. The military is the mafia, is gangsta land. It's all the same crap. So now you see why I'm starting to call the Planet Peace Project, which used to be a an educational system for micro peace, because I thought if I can just teach people how to be peaceful people in a conflicted world, then maybe each of us can kind of resonate and create this vibration of peace, and it will spread. I don't believe that anymore. The people who make war upon civilians in their own country have taught me that the only thing they're going to understand is being fed what they dish out. So, beyond that, I have something to say about innocent lives mattering more than those of the guilty. There's a whole group of people who perform ritual sacrifices, and they're asked what's called protection questions, and it's called the protection game, and it's promulgated by the United States military. It's promulgated by every mafia in the world. It's promulgated by your street gang in your neighborhood, and it's all the same garbage. The game is garbage, and it should be taken out with the trash. Don't play the game. The secret to not playing the game is unanimity. When enough of us stop playing the game, they stop doing it to any of us. Unanimity means you're too good, you're too moral, you're too righteous, you're too committed to your own truth and beauty and innocence and love to go down that little rabbit hole with those people who want you enslaved. Because any mafia, any military, any gang that says they're going to prosper you if you will only do their bidding and become a criminal, corrupt thief of truth is going to use you like a doormat as soon as it's got your loyalty. Every gang, every mafia, every military wants its Nazi jackboot on your neck. And those of you who are such stupid people that you think, well, they'll join that and get prospered and at least they'll, be on the right side of richness. No. What you will be on is the wrong side of everything that matters. And they will ask you to sacrifice what you love most. And they will hold guns to your head and try to get you to do the unthinkable and the unspeakable and the completely, massively, profoundly immoral. And if you value your own life over your immortal soul, then you might do all that. But I'm telling you, you are an immortal soul, and there is something beyond this hologram. There is something beyond this filth that is the game. And there is most certainly something beyond wealth, greed, your next fancy car, your bank account, your good job, your nice suit. There's plenty beyond that. It's called yourself. It's called your dignity. I had this idiot guy who's an attorney, but also a judge of all things. Excuse me, had to spit. He calls himself a judge. And he said, Nancy, what does moral dignity mean? I said, man, if you have to ask, you don't have any. So, what we get is a context in which human beings are being asked to sacrifice other people's lives and the lives of animals, non human animals. And what I'm telling you right now is that anyone who would bring dogs and cats and horses and parrots and ferrets and other types of non human animals into this is filth and trash and should be thrown out with the garbage. You don't ever, ever offer the life of a cat or dog or horse or parrot or bunny rabbit or any other form of life other than your own. When these filth in the military mafia mobs, gangster bull crap game tell you to, you offer theirs. The secret to unanimity is not sacrificing your pet or somebody else's. The secret to unanimity is not sacrificing your child. I know people who are asked to kill somebody else's child of the same age as one of their own. And they were said, they were told, well, if you don't kill that 5-year-old, we're going to kill your 5-year-old. This kind of thing. Stop having children now. Stop it. You're breeding victims for the mafia. God, how immoral to shoot seed or let a baby get spewed out of your loins. It's immoral to parent in a world of this nature. You're guilty. You're not parents, you're guilty of victim generation. I, for years, have not thought of parents as parents. I've thought of them as victim generators. Stop it. Cork your whatever. Get yourself sterilized. God, people who parent on purpose in this disgust me. And some of them say, oh, well, they do it because the more kids you have, the higher your status. Screw your status. Have a soul. But listen, if somebody tries to recruit you into this, they're not your friend. They're your mortal, immoral enemy. And what I want you to do is as follows, because this is the only way to turn this around. This is the only way we can preserve, regain control, and preserve our freedom as individuals. What you need to do, if someone says, well, you need to sacrifice this life in order to save your own, you say, no, I choose you to die. You're what's called a willful perpetuator. A willful perpetuator is anybody so profoundly corrupt, immoral, and degraded by now that they would ask you a protection question at all, ever. If they ask you a protection question at all, They're your enemy, and you need to bring that one down. Say, no, you kill yourself, you filth. We need to stop the willful perpetuators from ever asking us protection questions. Because no cat, no dog, no child, no innocent should ever be sacrificed to save the life of the guilty. So if anybody asks you, whether that's your mama or your daddy, your brother, your sister, your boss, your child, anybody who asks a protection question at all ever is the only one who should go down. Death to the willful perpetuators. Unanimity is now. As an entire species, we can return to our innocence and our freedom. Game over. Game over now.